Hello. Today I'm going to teach you some very basic German for beginners, and we're just going to do some greetings, simple sentences, pronouns, maybe some conjugation of verbs, and we're just going to get started right now. If you have any questions, don't be scared to ask. And yeah, let's get started. Let's start with something very simple, which is just a simple greeting. Hello. In German, I'll write it down for you. Hello is Hallo. Hallo. So instead of an E, there's an A here. And in German, an A is pronounced not A, but A. So it's Hallo. O is always pronounced O. Sometimes it can be pronounced O, but this is for later lessons. So this is Hallo. And then if you want to say bye, just like a very casual way, bye, what we say is Tschüss. Tschüss. So the spelling here can be a bit confusing because there's a T and then an SCH, and then there's a U with those two dots and two S's, right? So in German, the sh is still pronounced sh, like in English when you put an S and an H. That's how SCH is pronounced. Sh. The T is normal t, so ch. Right? You can try saying it, like say the T and then the sh right after. Ch. And then a U with two dots over it is Ü. So if it was without the dots, it would be U, and with the dots, it's Ü. So we have Tschüss. You can also say Tschüssi. In that case, there would just be an I here. It's like you're making it sound more cutesy, I guess, in that way. You say Tschüssi. Yeah, but these are basic greetings. Hallo, Tschüss, or Tschüssi. But let's now get more into the grammar. We're going to do a simple sentence. And the sentence we are going to do is, I am going to school. So this is how you would write it. Can you see it? Wait, maybe this is not clear. Okay. Ich gehe zur Schule. So, ich is I in English. So this is just I. Sorry, I. Gehe means go. However, in German, you don't just say go or goes. There are many different ways of saying it. Because like if it was just the word to go, then you would say gehen. But if it's with I in front of it, ich, you say gehe. And then if it's with you in front of it, which is du, then it's du gehst. So it's different depending on the pronoun. The verb ending changes depending on the pronoun. And for ich, it's usually an I at the end. But again, we're going to do more pronouns later. Right now, we will just focus on this for now. So, I go zur Schule. So this, technically, zur means not just to, but it means to the. So I go to the school, which you wouldn't say that way in English, and in German, it's kind of in a way, you also don't really say it. Zu, if you just take these two letters, zu, it's to. And then the R here at the end is the. It's a shortened version. It's like when you shorten a word in English, for example, you say can't instead of cannot, or you say shouldn't, or you say, I can't think of other examples, but you know, you could write out the word not, but you could also shorten it to can't. And in German, it's the same way with these words that indicate that you're going somewhere, for example, like prepositions, basically. So zu means to, and if you say zur, it means to the, but it's a shortened form of saying it. If you want to say fully to the, you would say zu der Schule. Can you see it? Zu der would be to the. But in a shortened form, you just leave these two letters out and you take the R here, and then you have zur. And you wouldn't really say zu der Schule. You can say it, it's grammatically correct, but it's not really in spoken language, it isn't used. You would just say zur, so you would shorten it. And then Schule is school, of course. You probably figured that out by now. Okay. I go to this school. Of course, in English, you would say it differently. You would say, I'm going to school. But in German, there isn't really a way to say, I am going. You can only say, I go. And, you know, in English, it like kind of depends on the context, whether you use the going or you just use go. And in German, it just stays the same. It's just always gehe. And then school is Schule. So right as in tschüss earlier, I said the SCH is pronounced sh. So here it is again, the SCH, which is pronounced sh. And then we have the U, this time without the dot, so it's just U. L is L, E is, if it's at the end, it's just pronounced like with the E in German, it's it also kind of changes. Usually when it's in the middle of a word, it's pronounced E, and if it's at the end of a word, it's pronounced more like but this is also not always the case. It can change, but let's keep it simple. So this is pronounced Schule. A thing that is maybe a bit easier in German than English, because I know it can seem a bit intimidating, the language, because there are a lot of grammar rules. Something that's easier in German is that usually things are written the way they are spoken. Once you know how to write like quite a few words, then you will be able to write words that you have never heard before. Most of the time. If it's like a super complicated word, maybe not. But usually you can, from hearing it, you will know how to write it. Whereas in English, if, for example, you heard the word bought, like buy, bought, you could think of many ways that that could be spelled. If you have never heard the word bought, you could think maybe it's B-A-W-D, bought, you know? Sorry. But in German, it's usually always spelled the way you pronounce it. So there are not that many misunderstandings there. But yeah, I think this should be it for today. I don't want to overwhelm you in the first lesson. So we have Hallo, hello, tschüss, bye. Ich gehe zur Schule. I'm going to school. And with that, I hope you learned something here, and let me know if you want to learn more, if you have any questions, and I'll be glad to help.